Welcome to the night where the paranormal unite. A party like never before under the moon's airy light. The vibe is dark, the air is cold, spirits taking flight. Get haunted and ghost and magazine leading the fright. Ghosts and ghouls dancing hand in hand, lost souls roaming the haunted land. On the battleship New Jersey we gather with glee. Horror and paranormal, a sight to see.
And good evening, everybody. I do apologize for the tardiness of today's show. Big apologies there. Good morning, Talek. Good morning, Icy. Good morning, Damien. Good morning, Damien. Good evening for everybody else. Hope everyone's doing well out there today. Want to just touch on a couple of things. The importance of networking and making sure that you're with the right group of people, right? I think that a lot of the things that we've talked about previously and a lot of the different topics that we've broached upon really do kind of fall into this area where we need to make sure that we're taking the opportunity to network appropriately. We're taking the opportunity to meet individuals out there and really expound upon that. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, how I actually got involved with the paranormal and just how I've found some of the groups and eventually found my home here at Get Haunted, right? And just kind of what that journey looked like and what that meant for me and how I've kind of navigated through different groups, because I'm somebody that honestly, like, I'm not for everybody, right? I got that shirt going on, where my particular personality and my approach is not 100% accepted, not 100% received in a way that I mean it. And so it's really important for me, especially being a little neurodivergent. It's important that I'm around people I can trust, right? And it's important that those around me understand who I am. Morning, Brandy. Or good afternoon, Damien. You got me messed up saying morning stuff here. We're 6 hours behind you. It's not quite midnight for us. We're still coming off of supper, so I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the importance of making sure that you're connecting with the right folks. And so one thing for me very early on, yeah, exactly, dude. Not everybody's cup of tea, and that's totally okay. And it's great that we aren't all the same. And it's great that we don't all get along in the same ways as everybody else. But I think one of the big things too that we're going to talk about here is handling those interpersonal relationships and handling the difference in personalities and how we as a community can be a lot better about that and how we as individuals can take ownership of that change, right? And so for me, I've always been kind of a loud personality, a loud character. And so everywhere I've ever been, it doesn't usually take long for me to become, as my wife puts it, the center of attention and really somebody that really drives the situation and really drives the experience for everybody else. And so I got invited to a bachelor party of a good friend of mine. You guys might know. He is the Compass of Curiosity host, Russ Stiver. He was the one that actually introduced me to the paranormal community. Now, I have had paranormal experiences my entire life. My wife and I have some amazing stories of just really unexplainable, odd events that have happened throughout our relationship together. And really just like I've seen ghosts, I've experienced it. I've dealt with claircognition. I've dealt with a little bit of mediumship and things like that. And I've had a wide range of experiences with paranormal, but not quite the paranormal community. And so I got invited about, I think it's going on 4 or 5 years now. Yeah, I think it's 5 years, 5th year, coming up here soon to the Bash at Wilson Castle, which is where Russ had his bachelor party to his wife, Nicole, who is a wonderful, wonderful woman, puts up with a lot of his shit. But they invited me up and I got to experience the paranormal through a Warner Paranormal event. And just going around and seeing the different equipment and really being myself and really bringing some authenticity to the experience, because again, it was a bachelor party, right? So I didn't really care. I didn't really go in there as reserved as I may have in another circumstance. And so I went in as my full self, and I found a group of people that are very much being their full selves as well. That does cause, conflict sometimes, right? But as a group, they held it all together and they were all very cordial with each other, even when they weren't getting along and everything like that. And it went really, really well. And for me, I'm a systems guy. I love tinkering with things. I love building, making, and deconstructing and reverse engineering things. And so I saw a particular piece of equipment. That piece of equipment was a casket music box, and I thought that was really cool, and that I could build one. And I found out how much they had actually paid for it, and I knew I could build it for cheaper, right? And so I went in, and within like a week or two, I had a little bit of a prototype built, and of course, the ADHD demons got fed, and I ended at the prototype, and I haven't actually finished the product. I actually have a couple of. Actually, hold on, give me 1 second, folks. I actually have one of my prototype box sets that was actually going to be used for it. Created a 3D rendered image, created a nice little spring action control unit for it, and the whole nine. And I just forgot about it. It no longer interested me, and I wasn't super attentive, so I stopped making it. But I kept the connections with that group, and I kept talking to that group, kept going to different events and things like that. And oh, Sierra, well, thank you for coming over. We appreciate you. Um, yes, Brandy, you absolutely have to be your true self. Like you really got to bring yourself to the table on this. And so we got along for a while, went to multiple events, went to a couple of their vendor shows as a vendor. And inevitably, Matt had just turned around and said, was like, all right, well, you're coming to all these different things. You're doing all these different things. Like you want to get involved, come get involved. Right. And so the wife and I joined Warner Paranormal. And that was kind of where things started. Right. That was my first intro. That was my first group of paranormal investigators I was around. First group of event folks that was around. And fast forward just a few more years after having done a multitude of hosting events, having done a few investigations myself and really gotten to know the team. We actually went through a roster change at one point in that period where some people fell off, some more people came on. We've done that again. We've had a couple of people fall off. We've had more people come on. And we've really just made sure that the energy was right. And then we all got along and we could actually all work together pretty well. And then I had the opportunity to take part of the East Coast Para Expo, which is an event we put on over at Harstuff Hall in Rockland, Mass. We have one coming up in November 6th. And I got to meet Rob and Sarah and showcase some of the other things that I can do, which is talk. And so we had a cancellation on one of our lectures. And through just a weird being open to the moment and staying with the flow, I was able to connect with Rob and Sarah, which lo and behold, I get along great with them. They're two amazing people, very easy to work with, very easy to deal with. And I look forward to what we can do in the future. But it was through this openness and willingness to just continue networking and things like that I was able to actually get on this, right? Rob had said that I should do a show. Sarah said I should do a show. Russ said I should do a show. Everybody that really knows me, I can talk for 45 minutes to an hour, staring at a wall without a problem. And so doing a show became a thing that I wanted to do. That has then also opened up other doors to go to different events, meet other folks, and folks on other sides of the aisle too, which I think is really funny, is there's so much animosity that just kind of floats between groups with everyone being faceless and nameless, right? The rank and file have no idea who supports who or anything like that. But when you actually sit down and have conversations with folks and you get to know folks, you're able to break down a lot of those barriers and you're able to build support networks that span labels, span groups, or everything like that. And I think that that's really what I think my biggest takeaway has been with the importance of networking and with the importance of getting to know other people is knowing that everyone is an individual, right? Like, we are all singular people operating in a collective group under different banner heads. And honestly, like those banner heads are important. There's loyalty there, and I get it. But when it's you and I kind of go back to the old World War II Christmas story with the English and German soldiers that shared a meal on Christmas Eve and then went back to fighting the next day. There's a time and a place to hash out issues and things like that. And you or I aren't going to be the one to do it, right? Like, we need to just make sure that we're out there connecting with folks and really, really exposing ourselves in a vulnerable way with each other so that we can make meaningful relationships. Now, if you're not out there to get to know people, you're not out there to really experience the diverse culture and diverse aspects and diverse approaches that are out there, then yeah, then stay reserved, stay guarded, don't open yourself up, don't share, don't be open. But I think you cut yourself off to so many different things by not being open. We go into different locations and we without hesitation open ourselves to these locations and the experience that the location can bring. And then we guard ourselves and we shut ourselves down when it comes to individuals, which I think is just wild. um and Stacy, I think, is where is he? Is he Talish still in here? Stacy Talish, absolutely phenomenal gentleman that I've been able to get to meet and talk to quite a few times here over the past 6-7 months because of the connections I made. Um, yeah, Brandy, and that's what it is growth and development and learning, right? And you go back to the idea that we aren't the same person we were yesterday, and if we try to pretend to be, we're living in the past, we're living in a shadow of ourselves, and we're never going to grow. But Stacy has had some amazing things that, having listened to him and interacted with him on the different shows that he's been on, when he does his own thing, Ask Stacy is absolutely phenomenal. To be able to kind of open up my eyes to the different things that are out there and the different perspectives that are out there, has been a phenomenal journey, right? It's been really, really fun, and it's such a short period of time. We have the capability to really have strong connections and strong impacts over the short term if we're open and we are actually vulnerable and we expose ourselves a little bit, and I mean emotionally, not physically. Um, but yeah, Brandy. So just so you know, right? One of the things about me, hey hon, wife's in the chat here. But one of the things about me is I have pretty severe ADHD, right? And so I have a very difficult time staying focused or being in the moment, because if things are dull or slow or there aren't any type of external stimuli, um, I struggle with staying in the moment. And as you guys know, when you're on an investigation, staying in the moment is one of the most critical things on an investigation, is just staying in that moment and looking for things. So I will typically have a drink or two before I go into an investigation, just to kind of calm things down for me, to center me. I'm not getting drunk. I'm not getting buzzed. I'm not getting anything like that. It's just a little bit of liquid. Um, yeah, Matt has not popped on. There's a long running joke about the sleeveless. The sleeveless is getting more sleeveless. Um, but no, I'll have just a little bit to take the edge off, and then I'll be able to be in the moment. And that is something that's very difficult to navigate with a lot of locations, because most locations do not allow alcohol on premises. And so I'm disqualified for a lot of different locations because I can go. I'm just not. I mean, I'll go and I'll be there for the event, but I'm going to constantly be kind of squirrel chasing, right? Like, I'm going to be running around. I'm going to be doing different things, like we did the Oliver House not too long ago. And it was awesome. It was a great experience and everything like that. But I feel like I didn't get as much out of it as I could have, because I respected the rules of the location, everything like that. I went in there. I tried to focus. I tried to stay on top of things. But I kept getting distracted. I kept getting, I mean, I hate to say it, but like, I kept getting bored, right? Like, and so, um, yeah, there you go. Yeah, and so there you go, follow the kids' lead. Kids have a line of sight into it, right? When we get older, we try to tell ourselves that everybody is on the same cognitive level as us, everybody's on the same intent as us. And 99% of the time they're not, and that's not always a bad thing, right? So putting yourselves out there a little bit, and it's super important. But my style very specifically rubs people the wrong way. They think I'm doing something wrong. They think I'm doing something like disrespectful or whatever. And realistically, it's not. It's just the way that I find center. It's the way that I find peace in that moment, and I'm able to actually like hone in on a particular thing. Um, yeah, and there's a lot to learn from each other. Just takes one to start. That's the gospel truth, right? I actually had a really good experience when I met Sarah and Rob, because I also got to meet Danny, right? And she did her senses, the census lecture, which it was phenomenal, and it was things that I hadn't even considered before. It was things that it was a line of sight into things that I already had an idea on, but I didn't have the words to contextualize what I was hearing, what I was seeing, and how I was experiencing it. And so, even from that one little moment, Danny was able to give me words to something that I had been experiencing and didn't have the words myself to actually express. So, it was really helpful for me. It was really useful for me as a growth tool, because now I can actually explain a little bit about what's going on in my head, why when I say things, they are the way they are, um, outside of just the standard, like, I say what comes into my mind. There's actually contextualized verbiage that can be used. And had I not been in that moment, had I not networked like that, I wouldn't have experienced that conversation, and I wouldn't have had that tool added to my toolbox in order to be able to be better, not just at investigation, but just be more complete version of myself. Um, and so, as we're moving through, and, I know we're coming up on spooky season, right? We're coming up on October, September, November, where the majority, I would say, of the large scale events and investigations are happening. Everybody wants to do stuff near All Hallows Eve. Everybody wants to do stuff near Halloween, especially up here in New England. There's an entire chunk of Massachusetts that I refuse to even drive through, starting September 15th and ending sometime around November 15th, because the amount of people that are just coming in to Salem and the area make it impossible to navigate, and I just get really frustrated with it, right? And a lot of that frustration too comes with my perspectives on investigation, my perspective on the supernatural and the paranormal, and the fact that, like, truthfully, we talk about the Salem witch trials and the burnings and everything like that. There was never anybody burned. There was only, I believe, it was a very small number that was even executed, but the majority of people died in prison. That's really where a lot of the deaths occurred, was during the imprisonment period. But the Salem witch trials are pretty hyped up in American history. Um, hey, Nicole, no worries, no worries at all. Thank you for tuning in at all. Appreciate that. But get back to work. We got to keep our day jobs. Um, so that hype and that kind of, like, fervor, to me, removes some of the authenticity of what we do as investigators. No, we are not under a mosquito lockdown. And I feel like if I was, I would be dressed horrifically inappropriate for a mosquito lockdown. Um, I actually am not even sure what you mean. Um, oh, I guess this is a thing. Voluntary evening lockdown has been enacted in 4 Massachusetts towns. Huh. Oh, that's Webster, Oxford, Sutton, and Douglas. That is far, far west. Yeah. So, friend of ours' daughter is reading a book on the Salem witch trials for her summer reading list. Um, yeah, there's so much hype on the witch trials, so that diminishes the authenticity for me. And when authenticity becomes an issue for me, that's, again, this is my style, my perspective, and I'm very open about it. But that's when credibility goes out the window for me, right? And for me, it's really difficult to look at somebody's approach or style or anything like that. Um, oh, heck yeah, Nicole, I'll absolutely have you on the show. You just let me know when. I think a conversation between you and I would be a bit like ping pong ball back and forth. Um, that's interesting. Britain got a warning for toxic gas cloud about to hit. I know Journey just rolled a ship through the Thames playing the Imperial March. I wonder if that has anything to do with each other. And for those of you who don't know, I am Irish born and bred. And I very close to the history, recent and previous, with Ireland and England. I've got some opinions on that as well. I think it's hilarious that Germany rolled a battleship through the River Thames right through London, and they're allowed to pick their own music. And if they play the music, they can play it through the speakers on the ship, and it's not a big deal. And the captain of the German ship decided to play the Imperial March as they rolled through the River Thames. Sarah, good evening. How are you? Um, yeah, I know you are, Nicole, and it's fun and it's kitschy. It's like going to the Marshfield Fair for me. Like it's like going to a carnival for me. Um, oh, get culted, yeah. The cult of the cult of the sleeveless. But I see I lost it. This is I told you guys earlier I'm ADHD, and now I got toxic gas hitting London. I've got 4 towns in Massachusetts on lockdown for the potential triple E case from 2020. Yeah, it's all right. Back to the show, the importance of networking, conversations, and getting to know people. But I'm very excited for a few events. You didn't throw me off, Rob. I was already off the ball. Um, it's your pecs. Yeah, it's my delts, baby. Um, but one of I am off. You did throw me off, Rob. No, one of the things I'm really, really excited about um, is the things that are coming up here in November, right? Like we have a couple of different things going on. We have the soiree, which I played the intro for. We have the bash at Wilson Castle, which we're going to be connecting, right? We're going to be actually doing live video feeds from each, connected to each other, so that people at both events can talk and say hello and connect, right? And I think one of the big things, if you've listened to Sarah and Rob, one of the big things is just connecting people and getting people hooked up together, getting new experiences, new perspectives, and things like that. Yeah, the Warner Paranormal Preservation Society Bash at Wilson Bash. That is so long. It's actually just Warner Paranormal, I think, Warner Paranormal is the one that's putting on the bash. It is not part of the Preservation Society. Those are 2 technically different silos. I don't know if Warner's in here. I can't see if he is. So if he is, hello, Matt, and God love you for watching me without my sleeves. He is he expressed one time that he did not appreciate me in a sleeveless shirt, and so now I own, I think, right around 15 or 20 sleeveless shirts, where prior to him saying anything, I believe I had one. So one, maybe two. So Rob has been the yeah, that's it, Rob. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, no, Matt was the catalyst for no sleeves. Vest only, no sleeves. Yes, there is a shirt for that. There's a photo of that that may or may not be circulating. But guys, I do want to tell you, I appreciate everybody out there. You guys have been a phenomenal support network. You guys have been great coming on the show. And supporting everybody around, right? And we've been able to really, I think, move the needle on a lot of different things that prior to everyone's engagement, right? We were kind of ignoring, or we were letting go. And so I want to say that I'm proud of every single one of you. I'm proud of everybody that's on this feed and everybody that's a part of the network, that as we grow and as we actually go, we really do take that culture of experience and enjoyment and networking to it. And yeah, Nicole, the first time we met, I had to pull you out of an Estes method. And yeah, you did. You about came out of your skin. I don't think I'm necessarily a put the needle on the record Wookie walk. I don't. You are, and are you intentionally trying to throw me off now, Rob? Because mission accomplished, my man. Um, but no, I'm really proud of you guys for what we've done, what Get Haunted has been able to put together. I'm really proud of my crew over at Warner Paranormal. That everything that they've done, right? Stop the mighty roar. I actually have the video of that. Oh, if you have the video of it, we got to put it up somewhere. We'll put it up on the Warner page. But guys, seriously, like it can't be stressed enough, the importance of getting out there and meeting new people and seeing new experiences and new methods, right? And the night that Nicole was talking about, um, was the first time I had ever seen the Estes method, right? It was the first time I'd ever seen anybody go under. I was very skeptical at first, right? Because I didn't understand it. I didn't have experience with it myself. And so I went into it with a lot of trepidation, which I do normally with every other kind of method I've ever seen, right? Um, I've seen people do, variant Ouija styles, spirit boxes. Um, yeah, there we go. I got people. Everyone needs to check out the East Coast Para Expo 2024. Yeah, check us out at warnerparanormal.com. All right, Rob's got a quiz for everybody out there. Where was the Estes method developed? I think are we doing a quiz show now? We're transitioning. It's now 10 minutes till my typical end time, so we're gonna bust out the trivia. Sarah, I feel like you're not allowed to answer these questions because you're going to be one that knows it. Um, let me see here. Oh, that would be too funny. Here you go. I think that's what I love about the bash. There's so many of us there on different playing fields, and I believe different things that when we are collectively together, what we get. It's so true. It's so true, Nicole. Um, yeah. Wow, Sarah. I don't know. So according to Haunted Houses Ghost Hunts .uk, the method draws its name from Estes Park, Colorado. It was at the iconic Stanley Hotel. Wow, that is, yeah, okay. I am new. It had the Stanley Hotel. Yeah, Stacy, that's it. Yeah, the inspiration for The Shining. Hey, Denise, how are we doing over there? Now, who were the two that came up with it? Oh man. Oh boy. Oh, okay. Well, Rob, I guess answered that one. Carl Pfeffer, first developed by Carl Pfeffer during his investigation at the Stanley Hotel. Rob, I don't know why you gotta be like this. So Rob wants me to say, park the car. You would like me to park the car, Robert? I can park the car in Harvard Yard. Or I can say park the car in Harvard Yard. Robin, Sarah, and I were on a call the other day, and my son was acting up just a little bit. And normally I try to speak pretty neutrally. I try not to speak in my Boston accent too much when I'm talking to folks on the phone or anything like that. It's just a habit from work. And my son, on the other hand, gets full blown, real like me accent. And yeah, I got mad Boston. Um, it really does. And what ends up happening is my lips end up going further back. I end up talking a lot different. And I tell people flat out, like, this is. I told him he was giving me grief about some stuff. He was giving his mother a hard time, and I turned around. I said, "Kid, this isn't a battle you want. In no way, shape, or form is this a situation you're going to walk away from doing well." And Rob just started dying immediately because the thick accent came out so fast. Um, yeah, so I'd love to go there. Oh, the Stanley Hotel, my skepticism, which is very strong. They're overhyped. Yeah, the overhyped places is really what gets me. But I will say this. This is another major thing that I think networking helps debunk, move, and shift, right? Is when we get to know enough people that have experienced enough locations and we're able to have a community around us that we can have conversations about where we've been and be honest, right? Like nobody's trying to prove that activity's happening. No one's trying to prove that they have some kind of ability. We're able to really have an honest to God nuts and bolts conversation um, about what locations are real, what locations have the most activity, what locations are just straight up overhyped. Amanda has known me for going on probably 30 years now. Known each other since we were very, very small children. Yeah, not a lot of positivity comes out when the honest to God, it is not a thing you want to go down. But we can really tap those networks and validate our experience, validate locations, and do a lot of the pre-work. I think that folks go in blind. Like when you don't have a ton of experience in the paranormal, my wife and I have gone into places completely blind, not knowing if there was activity there, not knowing what it was, just based on like a couple of web searches and a tour ticket price, right? Having the community we have now, we're able to really touch base with a lot of folks before we pick a location, before we go to a location. We're able to actually talk about experiences other people have had, whether they were valid, whether they had, similar experiences to what we're looking for or what have you. And that network has given us the ability to validate and kind of pre-screen locations that we're interested in now, right? Yeah, and Nicole, I do the same thing. I love to just go in and hang out at places. Hard Stuff Hall is one of them. Like I love going into that hall and just kind of hanging out and just chilling and seeing what happens, having conversations with folks that aren't there. And that's what I did at the Oliver House pretty much. Is we had a group of, I think, like 10 people. I just went off on my own for a while and just kind of like hung out and I actually like hung out in one of the kids' rooms, laid behind the bed and just like listened and just tried to tune into the house. Um, all right. Just did the Hinsdale house. Nice. Oh no. Brought the puppers to Hinsdale. Oh, poor Josh. Rough on the blanket. But making sure that you're using your networks, right? Like building the network is one thing and getting to know everybody is one thing, but then making sure that you're actually using the network appropriately is super important. Well, we're haunted here in Kentucky. The fort and the house, come on down. Denise, you know what's actually funny is I would love to. I do have a 6-year-old at home, so negotiating like a 3 or 4 day trip is usually pretty difficult. Um, but I think it would be kind of cool to just grab a couple of us show hosts and just like head down and do a live from a location, especially if it's already in the community and you guys are show hosts as well. Like get on there and just kind of just go and have a good time and just like let everybody see all of us together. The Real Ditto House, 1841, and the Haunting of Fort Duffield. Yeah. Um, but I think West Point, Kentucky. So let's do a little thing here. All right, let's go to maps.google.com. You guys are with me on an absolute ADHD show for sure. All right, so we are going to go from Marshfield, Massachusetts. And then we're going to do directions, swap this out to West Point, KY. So let's see. What does this mean here? Well, yeah, Rob's halfway there. That's why. All right, so that's a 15-hour ride. That's not too bad with a 6-year-old. Oh yeah, yeah, man. I'll check it out. Mostly just Wordle, Rob. I've got no fear. Does it actually show? Oh, it doesn't actually show. I tried, Rob. I tried. Tried to give you my browser history. It's mostly just Wordle 2048, StreamYard, and Facebook. And if anybody doesn't know what 2048 is, it is the ADHD's best friend because it is a mindless little combining game that you can play right here. you just do this and you go boop, 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 and you just play it, and it lets you eat an hour or two while you're trying to figure out what you need to do for the day. All right, back to it, guys, back to the show. But thank you guys so much for joining. It is 7 o'clock now. I do kind of want to keep that end time. It was a relatively short episode today. I know, 20 minutes. Yeah, Wordle, Rob. Yeah, Wordle. 100%. My streak was 372, and then I got sick and missed a day. And I don't think I've gotten over 20 since. Yeah, no, Stacy, it is not an Amazon wish list of sleeveless shirts. I kid you not. I was on there last night, and I needed a cable for my Oculus. I have a little VR headset thing, and I needed the cable, and the cable wasn't enough for overnight delivery, and it said for you, and so now I got a 16 pack of these. That was delivered to my door at 4 o'clock this morning. So I do not have it on the wish list. All my sleeveless shirts are pre-bought, ready to go. I'm going to have those for a while. However, I will say I do prefer the crew neck vest style as opposed to the strappies. I'm not used to the tank straps. So it's a little weird. And no one that has access to my Amazon would hit by now on a sleeveless shirt, because I'm pretty sure Matt's not the only one in my life that is off put by my sleeveless shirts. Oh, look at that, Rob, 373. That's a good one. That's a good one. What was your buster? What was the first one you lost? Yeah, it's only because my pecs aren't perky. That's all that is. And for a guy that lost 200 pounds, I think my body's doing pretty good, Rob. I think my body's doing pretty good. But no, guys, I love you all. I greatly appreciate you guys hopping on, even if it was for a shorter episode and it was for some goofy stuff. But what I would like to say, honestly, guys, make sure you're taking advantage of the network here at Get Haunted, whether it's reaching out to other shows, reaching out to different show hosts, commenting in the section, and really, really, really leverage that network, guys. I tell people in a professional sense all the time at work, like, you have to maximize your network. There's absolutely nothing you can accomplish without a solid network. The same thing is in the paranormal, guys. You have to develop a strong network where you can actually reach out. Otherwise, you're going to waste time and miss opportunities. So please make sure you're connecting with folks. Make sure you're taking advantage of the network. And God bless. And yeah, stay blessed, everybody.